A very warm welcome to our weekly news magazine program Bhutan This Week. I'm Pemal Hadan. Our top stories this week. His Holiness the Jekempo consecrates an old age home for elderly monks in Punakha, constructed by a Singaporean foundation dedicated towards elderly care. Her Majesty the Queen Mother Tsringpem Wangchuk graced the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the Gross National Happiness Centre in Bumtang. And the Druk Nyamrup Sopa says that the media in the country is weakening. His Holiness the Jekempo consecrated the old age home for elderly monks at Sochasa under Limikhagyok in Punakha. The old age home is expected to accommodate around 70 elderly monks.
The old age home for elderly monks is spread across 72 acres of land at Sochasa. The land was granted by His Majesty the King for the elderly home construction. The drasha has 9 cottages with 66 rooms. It also has a block with 4 units for servicemen and 1 community centre and a prayer wheel. The old age home will take in those monks who are above 60 years and retired from the post and without family members to look after them. The drasha will be taking care of the food and maintenance of the home.
I am blessed to have an elderly home for the retired monks. We should be grateful to His Holiness the Jekempo for such initiative. If not, old monks like us will have a difficult time after retiring from Rabde.
Dr. Mary N. from Singapore, who funded the construction of the centre, said the idea was conceived when she met His Holiness in Singapore in 2007.
I run my grandmother's foundation. She started foundation when she was 86 years old, specific to care for older people, because she said that older people really required special care. She said younger people, if they have problems, they're young, they have energy, they're strong, they can always work, and they can always live better tomorrow. So my work for the last 20 years has been devoted to caring of older people. That's what I do. And in particular, Vasanga, if they've been away from home since young for the benefit of the people, then all the more reason in the old age they should be supported and they should be cared for.
The compound and structures were designed based on the American Disabled Act. The home does not have any steps to enable the movement of the elderly people. It also has hand railings with even toilets connected with ramps. The consecration ceremony was attended by the Agriculture Minister, sponsors, Songkhak officials and nearby people of Punakha and Wandipodang. Compiled for Choni Dema, Sonam Churin for BBS News.
The construction of the Gross National Happiness Centre in Diwaling in Chokorgyog in Bumtang began last Saturday. Her Majesty the Queen Mother Tsringpem Wangchuk graced the groundbreaking ceremony.
The groundbreaking ceremony, initiated by Her Majesty the Queen Mother Tsringpem Wangchuk, was held on Friday. However, this is just the interim space for the center, which will be completed in 1 year. The interim space will organize the center's activities until the main center is ready. Her Majesty the Queen Mother also visited the site where the main center will be constructed. The construction of the main center, sprawling in over 46 acres of land filled with blue pine forest, will begin only in August next year. The construction of the center was delayed because the previous design of the center had too much ecological damage and it has to be remodeled. The $10 million main center will be located alongside Jamkhar Chu.
The center could kind of force to reflect, to contemplate the very purpose of life and develop from the innate values that we all hold, all human beings hold, to bring that inner transformation so that they can be the change for themselves, their families, their communities and the country at large.
And locals are looking forward to benefit from the center.
Firstly, it will benefit elderly citizens and people with special needs in the village. I think there will also be a lot of jobs for the youths here.
Meanwhile, Her Majesty the Queen Mother Tringpem Wangchu also graced the opening of the new head office of the Wangchu Centennial Park in Bhutan. The office was constructed at the cost of Ngiltrum 10 million in July this year. Compiled for Komal Kharka, Chatindupchu, PBS News.
Indian Ambassador Gautam Bambawale said given the current status, it might be possible to complete Punasangchu hydroelectric projects 1 and 2 before its scheduled deadline. Ambassador Bambawale visited Punasangchu 1 and 2 hydroelectric project sites last week. During the visit, the Punasangchu hydropower project management made a presentation to brief Ambassador Gautam Bambawale on the status of the projects. Ambassador Bambawale said he is hopeful that both projects will complete on time.
Other technical experts, and we have full confidence in all your abilities. So whatever challenges we may face in this project, we have full confidence that you will help in overcoming those challenges, and that these two projects, which are very important for both Bhutan and for India, will be completed as scheduled. Mr. Khazanji also said that I am running ahead of time, so you know what I expect of you. I expect that you will also run ahead of time, and that the projected date of completion for both the projects will be maintained, and that we might even complete both the projects a little ahead of schedule.
Ambassador Gautam Bambawale also said landslides along Punasangchu last year was a concern, but added such hiccups are normal and assured Indian government's full support in completing the projects.
This is normal in such big projects which take a long time to execute and to complete. There is the factor of price rise, which leads to some increase in the monetary value of a project. But there may also be some increase in the real value of the project because of these surprises like we have had in Pune 1, where we have had this geological surprise. But I don't think this is a major problem.
Punasangchu Hydroelectric Project 1 is scheduled to be commissioned in 2018 and the Punasangchu Hydroelectric Project 2 in December 2017. Compiled for Kinsangtane, Pematsuki for BBS News. Druknyamrup Thokpa says the media in the country is collapsing. In a news release, DNT says most privately owned media houses have been battling financial and sustainability issues for many years now, and they continue to do so. DNT says sustainability of media houses has had a direct bearing on quality of journalism, its reach and coverage. It adds Bhutanese media has become ever more urban-centric, neglecting the information needs of the rural Bhutanese. DNT says the last government failed to stimulate media's growth and development, leaving most media houses in a shambles. And that the current government seems to have no solution either. It says the lack of policy innovation and political will to revive the media will only worsen the situation. DNT also says the democratic process would take a serious beating without a vibrant media. A Bhutanese man and an Indian handyman who went missing from Azurguri, under Chirang district in Assam in India, have been abducted. Calls were received demanding for ransoms.
This is Azurguri under Chirang district in Assam, the location from where the two Bhutanese men went missing on Friday. It is 21 kilometers away from Gelifu and 8 kilometers from the nearest police station of Ranikhata in Chirang. The officer in charge of the Ranikhata police station said they received information about the breakdown of the vehicle late, but when they reached the spot, it was empty.
We
didn't get information in the evening about the breakdown of the vehicle. The owner of the vehicle called at 10:30 seeking for security. When I reached here at 11, there was no driver or the handyman.
The two men were on the way from Punsoling to Gelifu carrying construction materials when the vehicle broke down. The superintendent of police said carelessness of Bhutanese travelers and poor road condition are two major factors attributing to abduction of the Bhutanese. He said the thick jungles and the pothole-ridden road from Samthaibari in Assam till Gelifu border gate makes it difficult for vehicles to travel, so it becomes an easy target for the abductors.
If you are traveling towards Gelifu, please make an effort to reach before nightfall, because problems like these have occurred in the past too. There are forests nearby which is suspected to invaded by bad people, thus risky. Moreover, there are suspicions that villagers are helping them by capturing Bhutanese and handing over to them. So I would like to urge all the travelers to please cooperate and be responsible. As you can see, the road condition is worse. At night, vehicles can break down easily, or while driving slowly, invaders can run and catch up with the speed of vehicles and take charge. Here, keeping in mind, the time is very important.
The officer in charge of Ranikata police station said the situation will improve drastically if the road conditions are maintained properly. He relates the recent kidnappings to the poor road condition.
Road condition
is very bad. Vehicles frequently break down at this particular place. It's more difficult for vehicles with load to ply. In fact, it is an accident-prone area, and if the road condition improves, it will be better for us.
In the earlier kidnapping cases, victims either went missing in and around the same area or the ransoms were collected from these areas only. Therefore, these areas are considered unsafe and travelers are asked to be extra cautious and travel in groups. Shari Gurung, BBS News, Gelifu.
In the 5th annual tour of the Dragon Mountain Bicycle Race, series of records were broken, but this time the winner was from Nepal. The race, which covers 268 kilometers from Bhutan to Thimphu, started at 2 a.m. last Saturday. Last year's winner, Sonam could not surpass his own record, but was a witness to his own record being shattered by young competitors from Nepal. Ajay Pandit Chetri set an impressive record completion time of 10 hours 42 minutes, half an hour earlier than last year's winner. He took away a cash prize of 150,000 Yultrum. This is the first time that an international participant won the race. The runner-up, Rajkumar Shastra, who is also from Nepal, gave a stiff competition with a time difference of little less than 15 minutes only. He received 95,000 Yultrum. Nepal can now boast of having 2 participants with the fastest time in the race who have completed below 11 hours. With that time, both of them become the first participants to complete the race in the time range. Sonam, who took the coveted prize for 2 years, this time had to settle with fewer amounts. His third position won him 75,000 Yultrum. This is the first time that the Bhutanese participants could not sweep the top 3 prizes as usual. 5 women also participated in the race. The race also saw a record of 20 international participants. For the first time, there were also bikers from Switzerland, the UK, the Netherlands and Mexico. Compiled for Chetan Dubchu, Pamatsuki for BBS News. The Bhutan Power Corporation paid over 1.8 million Yultrum as compensation to one of the community forest members in Samsi last week. This is the highest compensation ever paid by a single entity or an organization in the context of community forest.
It took 4 years when the check was finally delivered to the members of Janam Community Forest in Saurini village, about 10 kilometers away from Samsi town. In 2010, the Bhutan Power Corporation used about 16 acres of community forest for the transmission lines and structures during a rural electrification project in some of the villages in the Zongkak.
The area where the cable lines passed through was one of the finest areas, and we worked hard on it. The compensation from the BPC is the opportunity cost their community members had to forgo.
Members said there was nothing they could do apart from giving away the area to BPC for the benefit of the mass. The compensation money, they said, will be used to finance some of their priorities.
After discussing with the members, we felt we will use the money to build a community forest office, since bookkeeping has become quite challenging in the absence of proper office. We are also thinking of building a nursery.
Other areas of interest would be in purchasing a vehicle for the school-going children of the community who walk over 20 kilometers to school and back home. The compensation is one of the highest to be recorded since the establishment of the community forest in the country. Samtsi Songkhak has 35 community forest and Janam Janam community forest is the smallest in terms of area. It spans only 280 acres. Compiled for Sonam Phunso, Sonam Chodan, PBS News.
The calf rearing center in Wangkha under Chuka Zongkhak was started in 2011 with an aim of providing good quality Jersey heifers to farmers. While the center has been striving to achieve the objective, reluctant farmers in supplying the center with Jersey heifers has become one of the main challenges now.
The center procures cross-Jersey heifers with more than 75% blood level of Jersey, mainly from southern region. At the center, the heifers are reared and impregnated with pure Jersey semen through artificial insemination. The pregnant heifers are then distributed to farmers across the country as per the demand. The center's manager, Vijay Raj Rai, said, with more dairy farming cooperatives coming up, the demand of Jersey cross heifers has increased. On the other hand, farmers are becoming more reluctant to supply the center with such heifers.
There is a source, no sir, there is source, but the good quality heifers not there. The person who are selling are not ready to sell their good quality heifer. So they want to keep the good quality and they want to sell which are not good quality.
He added that it is also difficult to get Jersey cross heifers within the country at the existing price. The price per heifer ranges from 14,000 to 50,000 based on the quality. Ad hoc demands by the farmers also hamper the supply chain at the center. The manager said, since 5 months is required to confirm the impregnation, the center expects to keep the supply consistent if orders come 5 months earlier. To address the issue, he said, the center will look at the possibility of importing heifers from outside the country. The center also faces the problem of getting adequate farm attendants. Of the approved 6, there are only 3 farm attendants at present, looking after around 60 heifers. Meanwhile, to enhance their services, the center is also researching on sex-sorted semen technology. Through this technology, the impregnated heifers will give birth only to a preferred sex.
Our farmers need only female calf, so our government introduced that semen, the sex-sorted semen. We are started using around 10 AI we have done.
The success of this technology, he said, can be determined only in early next year when the artificially inseminated heifers give birth. Till date, the center has supplied 143 impregnated heifers to farmers in the Western Dzongkhaks. The heifers are sold at a subsidized rate. From Finsoling, Sonamongdi for BBS News.
A culvert bridge over Lorikhachu under Tading Gyog in Samtsi was washed away recently. This has left 5 chioks under the Gyog inaccessible by road.
The wall of the bridge was partially damaged in June this year. On the 16th of last month, the bridge was washed away following 2 days of continuous rainfall.
2 days of continuous downpour swelled the river and it was overflowing from the culvert and from the sides of the bridge as well. Non-stop rainfall for 2 days washed away the bridge.
Today, despite risks, people still use the bridge with a temporary ladder tied to it to get across the river. There is a suspension bridge downstream, but then taking that route takes more time. The bridge connected the Gyog Connectivity Road to the Samtsi Finsling Highway, which is also under construction.
We have forest, RNR and Geog offices across the river. So transporting things to and from these offices is a problem now. We have the option of using the suspension bridge, but it takes time and is not so convenient.
It has become a problem for the villagers living on either side of the river. For those living on the other side, when they travel to Phuentsholing, they have to cross the river. And for those on this side, visiting the Geog office has become a problem. We have tied a ladder to the bridge to get across. But when the river swells, even the ladder is washed away.
There are two alternative ways, but then it takes time and is inconvenient, particularly for the school-going children. They even have to miss their breakfast.
Villagers said the river dries up in winter, but during monsoon, the scenario is completely the opposite. Villagers added the bridge, which measured 7.4 meters long with a height of about 5 meters above the river, was too low for the monsoon-fed lorry car through. Meanwhile, the Geog administration said the bridge was constructed after the approval of the Songkhak Monitoring Committee. Geog administration said the length was decided as per the existing rules because a longer bridge would have required a pillar. The Songkhak has already put up a proposal for restoration budget to the Ministry of Finance. The bridge was constructed in December last year at a cost of little over 1.2 million Nutram. Compiled for Sonamongdi, Vishinongmo, BBS News.
Well, that is all we have for this week now. Join us again next week for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. Until then, I'm Pemal Harden saying goodbye.